All right, happy Thursday and good morning to you. First Alert Meteorologist Isaac Williams here, updating you on the forecast. We're going to talk about the weekend and how lovely it's going to be. It's a little bit dreary and windy out there today, and we're also going to talk about the latest drought that was issued. It's issued every Thursday morning, and the news is a little bit worse for Metro Atlanta in that we have seen some worsening drought conditions, not just here in the city, but most of North Georgia now in some sort of abnormally dry or drought condition based on the update from this morning. So we'll take you outside right now to downtown. It looks pretty dreary out there, although it doesn't feel bad out there. If you've been outside any amount of time this morning, you know that it has been fairly much lower humidity out there, but the clouds continue to be with us, and I expect the sky to look a lot like this through the day. And you can see the clouds are a little wavy, a lot of motion in the atmosphere today. In fact, we've already seen a 35-mile-per-hour wind gust down at the airport, and that occurred at about 7 or 8 o'clock this morning. So it's been a little bit windy today, and I expect those breezes to continue throughout the course of the day today. On satellite and radar, it is mostly cloudy. The rain, though, is really not in the forecast much today. I do have a small chance of rain this afternoon, but any sort of steady rain or heavy rain, that's simply not in the forecast today, and we don't expect any storms. And after today, we are almost fully dry and fully sunny for the next 6 days, which plays into the drought that I mentioned earlier, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. This morning, temperatures are still in the 60s. We actually got to 70 degrees. We warmed up a little bit overnight. We are up to 70 in Rome, but we're back to 68 in Atlanta, 64 in Covington, 64 in Canton. After a near record high temperature yesterday of 88, today a big departure from what we have seen so far, especially with the heat from yesterday. The latest forecast model here's 3 o'clock, and notice the clouds are still here. This may be a little bit aggressive with trying to clear us up. I do think we'll stay mostly cloudy, but you can see a little bit of rainfall maybe west of the city, closer to the Alabama line, late this afternoon and into this evening right before sunset, and certainly by 11 o'clock tonight we should be dry. Overnight, the sky should clear. The winds are going to stay up a little bit, though, but still temperature should be a little bit lower than what we started with today, thanks to the fact that these clouds should clear. For the day tomorrow, I'm expecting a mostly sunny day. The breeze will stick around. We'll talk about an area of low pressure off the East Coast that is going to send maybe a little cloud cover toward us Friday night, but other than that, we're looking at the main show of this system being focused along the East Coast. You can see a very active scene here. This is going to basically become a nor'easter as it gets closer to New England on Sunday. But basically what this is going to do is reinforce cool, dry air across the southeast and North Georgia through the weekend, and that's why we're still advertising a beautiful weekend ahead. The latest drought, though, as I mentioned, all this talk of nice weather, we had severe drought be introduced to Metro Atlanta as of the drought monitor update from this morning. And you can see this includes Peachtree City. This includes areas all of Fayette and Clayton counties, most of Coweta County, Douglas and DeCarroll County, down closer to Thomaston, portions of Pike and Upson counties as well, and Lamar County down toward the south. LaGrange not in the severe drought, but in moderate drought. And as we take you back to the big picture, you can see most of North Georgia in a some form of drought, minus Towns County and Rabun County and Clay County, North Carolina. Other than that, we're not in the extreme or exceptional range just yet, but we are in about a 5-inch rain deficit for the year. And with the absence of rain going forward, it seems plausible that next Thursday, when we get another update, we will likely see these at least moderate and severe drought conditions expand even more. Hopefully we can get some beneficial rain, though, by the end of the month. So a little bit deeper dive here. It's been only 4 days since measurable rain has fallen at the Atlanta airport. That was, I guess, on October 5th, so just a few days ago, but it was only 5/100ths of an inch, so not much out there. And it's been 48 days, so that's back into August, where we have seen at least a 1/4 inch of rainfall here in Atlanta. So we have had some downpours kind of scattered across North Georgia, certainly in the past 48 days, but at the airport officially, these are the numbers that we are going with. And again, we had a really dry September. It was the second driest September in the past 25 years, 5th driest ever, only getting 0.16 inches of rain for the whole month. And we are off to a very dry October start, as we know. So again, we certainly need some rain around here. And again, there's not much hope for it in the 7-day forecast, in that we're only looking at about a 20% chance of rain for this afternoon. And then for Friday, we'll see decreased cloud coverage. And then for the weekend, beautiful weather is in store. And then next week, we're back to hot weather. So not only are we staying dry, but we are going to be heating up well above average. In fact, by next week, the average high should be about 75 or so, and we could be pushing 10 degrees above that, like we did yesterday, kind of moving into next week with very little hope for rain. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the weather should still be nice. The humidity is still not going to be too bad. So this is very typical for October. October usually only gets about 3.25 to 3.5 inches of rain fall for the year, and we certainly are on par to get maybe not even that much. So that's something to be mindful of going forward, in that we are just not seeing that much rainfall out there. To the tropics, we now have a tropical storm warning in effect for a small group of the northern Caribbean islands. The lighter pink colors, a tropical storm watch, and this is for tropical storm Jerry that's nearby, looking a little bit better than it was yesterday. And I say better in that it's just a little bit stronger, 65-mile-per-hour winds. It is forecast to start to turn shortly, which is what's going to bring these tropical storm conditions to the northern Caribbean islands by the time we get to tonight and Friday. The latest track here does turn it northward, so it is not going to impact Puerto Rico. It's going to turn north by then, and by Friday afternoon and evening, it should be a hurricane, Category 1 storm, and then it's going to make a pretty quick right turn or easterly turn by the time we get to Sunday and Monday of next week, and that should bring the system east of Bermuda and certainly east of the United States. It may kick up a little bit of surf, and that low pressure that I mentioned and showed you earlier, that could also bring some very rough conditions from a beach perspective along in the east coast, especially the Carolinas into the mid-Atlantic. Jerry here not going to be as much of a threat, since it's going to be kind of occurring at the same time, and that stronger area of low pressure to the coastline is probably going to take away from Jerry's coastal impacts just a bit. But it is going to be the forecast to become the season's fifth hurricane. The good news, though, is that this system is not expected to reach major hurricane status, although it could hold that status up and through at least Tuesday of next week. So the tropics staying busy. The good news, though, is that after Jerry, there are no other big systems in the Atlantic that the Hurricane Center is watching, and so there are no signs of any additional tropical development in the next 5 to 7 days behind Jerry. So that's some good news. To the 7-day, I want to talk about the cooler air that's coming on Sunday. This is going to be fabulous weather. Atlanta Pride Parade is Sunday, and while it won't be this cold during the parade, it is going to be a bit chilly to start. So 49 degrees in Canton, 48 in Carrollton, mid-50s for Metro Atlanta. Again, this is for Sunday morning, so waking up 7, 8 o'clock, this is what we are going to see. And then through the day, we, of course, will warm up with full sun. So I'm expecting a parade start time temperature around noon of 70 or so degrees. And then as we move into the rest of the afternoon, as the parade continues, it will be a little warmer at 78, but still should be a little bit shy of 80 until we get to next week, where again those high temperatures will return to the lower and possibly middle 80s. We also will see those morning low temperatures be at their what I would call best over the weekend, and then we will see the chance at those overnight low temperatures start to climb just a bit again toward the middle of next week, where we see the chance of overnight lows not reaching the 50s anymore, but rather getting back into the 60s. But the good news here still is that we do not see any sign of a big humidity increase, which means we don't have a lot of rainfall, which again does not necessarily play into good news for the worsening drought that I mentioned earlier. But it's not uncommon that we see this kind of dry weather in October across Georgia. It is one of our driest months out of the year, but hopefully beyond this 7-day forecast, we can start to reintroduce at least a little bit of rainfall into the forecast so that we can start to see some slow drought improvement.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. To join the conversation on YouTube Live, visit our channel and hit subscribe. You can also listen to the Atlanta News First podcast by searching Atlanta News First on your preferred listening platform.